Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video we're going to be going over the wind element. I'm going to show you some tech cards that if you're interested in the element and you're trying to use the wind archetype in your given champion, hopefully you can utilize these cards into different parts of the meta depending on which you think is going to be strongest. And when you're going to an event, big or small, you can utilize these cards to the best of your ability, and they're just good cards to have on hand depending on how the meta is shaping up. So hopefully you enjoy this. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully enjoy your stay. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below, as well as the channel membership and the creator worksheet. It has access to Flesh and Blood creators, Grand Archive creators, Alpha Clash creators. So if you don't like my content, definitely go down there, check someone else out, and get more people seeing these games. But I did want to get into the wind element. We're not going to talk about like staples, so to speak. There's a lot of like cards in the wind element that, are just like a no-brainer. Like Windmill Engineer is a big one, right? Where it's just a good engine if you're running like a heavy wind deck. I wanted to talk specifically about tech cards. Now, some of these tech cards might be mainboarded for the most part. Some of them might be like heavy sideboard cards. But they're cards I think you need to have access to depending on what champion you're playing, regardless, to be able to attack specific parts of the meta. Because one of the biggest things about wind is its ability to be flexible and know exactly what it wants to be good into, and then be able to affect that accordingly. So if you are coming from Grand Archive, like the community, please let me know anything I miss. Any suggestions down below would be really cool. I try to have very discussionary content. I try to feel like a senior person at your LGS that you're talking to and having a good conversation with, while having a lot of graphics and stuff going to try to make it as professional as possible. But please, any suggestions, feel free. So these are in no particular order. The first one is Cleansing Reunion. This is a cleric skill, but it doesn't have any tie to any class as far as like a class bonus or anything like that. In Imbue 2, it says you may reserve all cards revealed as you activate this card, which means show them face up. If it is at least 2 of them are wind element, this card becomes imbued. Target player banishes 3 cards from their graveyard. If Cleansing Reunion is imbued, that player banishes 6 cards from their graveyard instead. This is very cool because it has a lot of use cases. In the most recent meta, pre-Ryle ban, it was very good in the Ryle decks, being able to get rid of some of that engine that they're trying to get value from in their graveyard, being able to get rid of Floating Memory, getting rid of Luminal Guides, getting rid of things that they're trying to recur. Very useful. But it's also just good in a general sense. If you're in a meta where you have a lot of like low to the ground aggro, like fire aggro, like FISA or something like that, things that are trying to utilize like the buff elements of fire. Fire cares about banishing fire cards from its graveyard in order to buff certain attacks, Blazing Bowman, Rending Flame, stuff like that. Very good to get rid of that stuff. It's very good again to water decks because it can get rid of a lot of their Floating Memory that they have, where they're trying to make those Frostborn Paladins have a buff counter or utilize other value plays. Very good against those. So sometimes it's a slam dunk, sometimes it's just a really good tech piece, but I think no matter what champion you're playing, doesn't matter the class, nothing, this is a very good card to have on hand, and always a good card to have in your sideboard if you want to have a little bit of graveyard interaction. The next one is more so played in Assassin, but it can be played in other champions classes. It's an action Assassin skill that's at fast speed. You may remove 3 preparation counters from your champion rather than pay this card's reserve cost. So it normally costs 5, but you can play it for free if you remove 3 prep counters. Return all allies to their owner's hands, and it has Floating Memory as a class bonus. So in Assassin, this is extremely good. You can play it for free, has Floating Memory, has all these additional items, and it mostly is played in the Wind Assassin classes like Wind Luxem Xander or Tristan, Wind Tristan. So, but it's still a really good card to have because it does well into a couple different things. One, it's really good into obviously like low to the ground aggro ally decks. But, like if they pay, if they drop all their cards to pay like 3 big allies, it's really good to say, okay, well, you got to pick them all up now. But they've already paid for everything, so now they just have like 3 allies in their hand with no resources to play them. Very good for that, to help time walk an opponent. It's very good to bounce the dragons from Guoja decks. Really good into Siryu, really good into Gimbu, stuff like that. Has a lot of different use cases, and Snarium Fumes basically like can just completely dismantle those decks. So most people are running this at a 2 or a 3 of. It's one of the more expensive cards on this list, but it's not like break the bank. It's just like $7 USD, whereas some of these cards are like pennies on the dollar. So if you're running an assassin win deck, this is like a must-have at like a 2 of. If you're not, it's just a good card to pick up. I think it's really good into certain parts of the meta, no matter where we're at. The next one is Dream Fairy. Some people could argue that this is a main board card, but not everybody runs it all the time. I know that I've seen certain decks that just don't run it in the main board, but it's very good because it is ways to get rid of key pinnacle parts on the other side of the opponent. So it has stealth. It's very hard to interact with. You have to have target spot removal. That's not gate kept by a class. On enter, return target ally you don't control to its owner's memory. Opponents can't activate cards with that ally's name as long as you control Dream Fairy. So, if you, again, Guoja deck, any Gimbu, any Seiryu, stuff like that, can deal with those and they cease to exist. It's really good into dealing with decks that have a really key ally card that empowers everything else. If someone has a Red Hair, or someone has an Arthur, or someone has a Snow White, something of that nature. Even something like Luminal Guide, if it's on the field, might be really, really useful. Being able to get it before it leaves play. Dream Fairy is just a really good card to have. Some decks run the main board like a Tristan. Some decks like a Vanitas back in the day, like last format or 2 formats ago, ran the sideboard. It really depends on if you think you're going to see a lot of these key ally decks or Guoja decks. If you think you're going to see more burn spell style decks, this could be just a sideboard card, but very, very good card to have. The next one is Scatter Essence. We're going to have 2 Fantasia hate cards here. I like Scatter Essence personally because it's not class kept by anything, but it also has floating memory, which is really, really good. This is mainly for fractal decks. I think with the Rival ban, we're going to see more fractal decks come back into the format like they were pre-DTR. So I could see this card going back into sideboards for win decks. I just like it as floating memory. We do have the next one, which is Noble Dissolution, which just came out in DTR. Very, very good. That allows you to destroy up to 3 target Fantasias. However, it is exalted, which means this element is enabled for you as long as you have another advanced element enabled. So it really depends on how you want to do it. If you want to value the floating memory, if you want to value the late game 3 Fantasias being destroyed, both are very good cards to have in your sideboard, and they just make fractals not have a good day. And as we have more Fantasia archetypes come into the game, these are going to be cards you're going to want to have access to. The next one is Veiling Breeze. Again, you could argue that this is a main board card, but it's more main boarded like Tristan and Xander, less so than Vanitas, because Vanitas kind of runs like a half and half. I think it's a really good card. It does get affected by cards that can remove element, being able to see the element right as you're doing it. However, what's cool about this card is it costs 1 to play. So at worst, you pay 1 win card showing it to play this, and it negates 1 instance of 1 damage of every instance it deals to you that turn. So it's really good against go wide aggro. But if you're able to play this and reveal 4 or 5 win cards, you're preventing 4 or 5 damage to your champion every instance of damage that happens. So it's very good when they're trying to go wide on you with a bunch of big boys. Really good way to keep you alive, to give you that extra turn. It's also, even though it's assassin, it's not class bonus or gate kept by anything. It operates at fast speed. Very, very good card to have. Definitely have access to this if you play Wind. Next one is Stifling Trap. Now this is main board in a lot of different decks. It is more main board in assassin decks, but you've seen it in some Vanitas decks and stuff like that as well. It's an assassin skill reaction at fast speed, cost 2 to play, class bonus. If it's not your turn, you may remove 2 prep counters to play this from memory without playing its reserve cost. So it's just more of a trap in assassin decks, but in non-assassin decks, you just pay 2 for it. Deal 2 damage to target ally, then negate all on-enter triggers from that ally. So it's a way to stop Snow White triggers, stop any major on-enter triggers, which there's a lot of powerful ones in the game that you can, really, kind of just stunt what your opponent's trying to do. If they're trying to get a big on-enter trigger to try to chain a combo together, this can really halt what they're doing. And the good thing about this, it's not like negate unless they pay 2 or something like a Frostbind. It just does it. So unless they have a way to negate this entire card itself, this card is going to trigger and help prevent some really nasty on-enter effects, and it might end up killing the ally itself as well. Then we have Zephyr. Zephyr is probably, like, some people could consider this a main board card, but I think it's a tech card more so because it suppresses certain things that are it's both used offensively and defensively. Offensively, it allows you to, like, play something like a dungeon guide, and then you suppress it and then it comes back in. Or you play something, you know, like anything that has, like, a major on-enter ability. So, for example, like a pretty sure like an Ace Protector would be a really good example. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Sorry, in the moment. But yeah, Ace Protector might be a good one. Like on enter, return target ally you control to its owner's hand. So you drop Ace Protector, you Zephyr it the next turn, then it comes back in the turn after that, and you can get that on enter ability multiple times. But it also allows you to suppress things that will leave play if they leave the field. So into any, you know, dragon deck, it's going to be really good into that. It's going to be a really good way to suppress and get it. There's some cool tricks you can do with the combat phase where you Zephyr something out to where there's like no more defender, which means if there's no more defender, there's no more attacker, and it can like cancel out an attack basically if you time it right in the right window. Definitely go look up the rules on how exactly to do that. I'll maybe show that later in a video at some point, but really, really good card. Definitely something you want to have access to. And then the last one is Ace Protector. This is more of an ally-centric thing. This just allows you, if you have any wind allies list, this is really nice because you can play something, get the on-enter effect, then play Ace Protector, bounce that thing, then play it again later to get the on-enter effect again. It has intercept, so it helps keep you alive. Really, really good card to have. This is like the least techie card. I think this card and Zephyr, these are more just main board cards, but they're cards I think you need to have into certain decks. This is really good in ally decks, really good to help keep your engine going. Zephyr's really good in ally decks as well. So those are kind of the cards I'm looking at. But hopefully this made sense. This is quick, down and dirty. This is if you're getting the wind and you want to know key cards that not only are like somewhat main board engine cards, but also cards that play into different types of the meta. These cards are really useful for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. For anyone in the Grand Archive community, if I missed anything, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. I'm getting better at this game every day, just like anybody. So never shy away from some constructive criticism. But thank y'all so much. Hopefully y'all have a great rest of your day. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's completely fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff. Let's get more people seeing this game. I have the creator worksheet down below. Go to another Grand Archive creator. I'm building that out as I find more of them. Find someone you like. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.